I don't get the trash one at the bottom. Why is that there? Oh, because of the dump. I get it now. Whoa, is that new? Has that Humpty Dumpty always been there? Yeah, don't worry about answering me. I'll just sit here and keep talking.
Oh, hey, wait, I almost did that again. Wait, I forgot to do this. Hey, would be on brand if I didn't do everything Scott would have done. Fail there. Guys, Sporking's not here tonight, but we are.
Thank God.
We're going to have an amazing stream. Lots to cover. Scott left us in great shape with some incredible panelists and more on the way. Let's go ahead and introduce everybody. Let's start with, actually, this is wrong. Let's start with the ever lovely Jayne Theory.
Hello. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. I was right up until 3 seconds ago.
Hey, look.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
And so now I'm even happier because Matt is sad.
Yeah, I know. Mad sadness makes joy. Mad sadness makes joy. Jayne, you got anything going on? I know you've been doing stuff.
Oh, yeah. I did a No Time to Die review. That's on the channel on YouTube at Jayne Theory. You can also find me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at Jayne Theory.
Awesome. I love that. Every time you do it, your voice is so lovely.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. You should read everything, and we should just sit and listen to you read all day. But look at it. We got folks rolling into the chat. Thank you all for being here. We're gonna let Mad introduce himself next. This is Mad from Mad Barber Entertainment. Mad the Magnificent. Mad who is putting the D back in magic. All about it. Mad, tell people about yourself. I dare you.
Everything he said.
That's it.
That's it. You said everything.
Oh, well, good. Thank you. Next, if that's the only way, if that's all it takes.
Look where you been.
If that's the only thing it takes to keep you quiet, I'm going to do that all the time. All right. Next up, and finally, so far, and of course, we got more guests on the way. We have Yeti Cast. Right? He's showing up here. He did something cool today. Yeti Cast, what you got going on?
Well, I just released my brand new trailer. It's what if Michael Myers was a piece of candy corn?
It is so good.
I turned the Halloween franchise on its head, and I made a brand new trailer, and everybody should check it out because I think it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I think it is too. And again, I'm a little biased because I did help on a couple of things. Not very much. Yeti is 100% on top of this thing. Great project. It is the best 2 minutes of your life. I'm telling you.
I did work on it as well, but I got no credit. Just for the record.
What did you work on?
Yeah, what did you do exactly?
Dude, I was the one like, no, leave that.
Okay, we've got of course,
so I asked for an opinion.
Yeah, we've got Frankie Knows. Frankie Knows is in the house. Says he thought he was subscribed, but he is now. We also got
like an editor. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Of course, Keely Chow's hanging out with us. Mead is still going, according to Cody Guy. So I imagine we'll get some of those folks over here in a minute. I'm going to grab Bear Dog because everybody loves Bear Dog here in a second. Got Keely Chow, Christian Fandom Geek. Good to see you. Hey, you got Lord Runner, Hail Runner. You've got Machiny Draws. What's up, Machiny? Hope you're being safe on your way home. Let's see. We've got One Man Show. What's going on, One Man Show? And our ever lovely Tina Bojan, who supports everybody. Just everybody. Parrot Head's hanging out. Says, where's Waldonis? That's a good question. Where is Waldonis? Wookiee Supremacy says, hail, Cuddles, Jayne, Yeti, and the Goblin King. Hashtag Martigan sucks. Well, there you are. Forbidden Ruin says, hello, hail panel and chat.
Wait, who says that?
Forbidden Ruin.
Said it a little different that second time.
Small time. Jayne could make reading the phone book interesting if we still had phone books.
Oh, thank you.
True. Yeah, she's awesome. I love Jayne. Oh, that's Bear Dog. Bear Dog's going to make an appearance. Hang on a sec, guys. Talk amongst yourselves.
So you have a thing about candy corn, huh?
Oh, candy corn needs to burn.
Oh, there it
is.
Does
it burn? I'm not even sure if it burns.
Doesn't it melt? I mean, it is kind of, it's all that confectioner's wax on the outside, right?
It's like a cockroach. It just doesn't die.
Yeah. Hey.
It can survive the apocalypse.
Yeah, this is Bear Dog. Bear Dog's awake. Bear Dog had a long nap.
Oh.
Yeah, so we are
He's
waiting.
ready to play.
He's ready to play. All right, we got Snow Dubs in the house. Looks like we've got several other folks. Mark's rolled over here. Good to see you, Mark's 47. Let's see. So many others. Yes, Bear Dog is here. Bear Dog is making a lot of appearances on shows lately, so he's just been a fuss bucket, let me tell you. I watched it, was going to leave a comment, but they were turned off. Oh,
okay. Yeah, so that's kept happening to me. I don't know why. I keep having to go back in and turn
comments
them
on?
back on. I think maybe because there's like 2 seconds of the little kid from when he's young.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to leave a comment, they should be back on now. I'll double check because I've turned them back on several times at this point.
You're fighting with the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
I've had that
comments really
problem.
do help.
All right. And for those of you who can see the private chat and our mods, please drop the link to that video. That would be great. All right. So we are caught up with those of us that have joined the show so far. We've got quite a bit to talk about. And I'm pretty stoked. Do you think we've got some decent stories to talk about? I think we do.
I think so. It's been a very weird week.
Yeah, I mean, can we start with like the fun news of the day, the thing that's happened this morning that I think we could all celebrate? Can we start with that?
Sure.
All right, let's start with that. Let's start with our very own. I don't know what's happening. Captain Kirk. There we go. He blew up into space. Well, blew off. He took off. He made it to space. He did not blow up.
Wow.
That was almost bad. 21 of you watching, don't misunderstand. He's perfectly fine. He landed safely as well.
Yeah.
He's
I
90.
didn't post anything about it until he got back.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I was real careful. I'm texting people going, "This is so cool." And then when he finally got back, I'm like, "That was so cool." And then of course, I think my eyes kind of sweat. I was talking about this on the show that Wednesday Live with Mad. Jayne, what did you think? Did you think this was kind of like?
It was the coolest thing to happen probably in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Just because he is. I mean, this is James T. Kirk, and he actually got to go to space. It's amazing. And it also, I think it's one of the few things we've had happen recently that is truly like positive and hopeful and something people can really rally around.
Yeah, we can all get our arms around it. Absolutely. I think that's 1,000% right. Because we need unifying events, don't we, Jayne?
Yeah, we do. In major cultural events. I mean, this changes everything. I mean, we've had people go to space before who are incredibly wealthy or whatever, but this gives everyday people an opportunity to dream about maybe they or their children or their grandchildren might be able to actually live out something that's been a fantasy for decades.
Yeah. I mean, I was stoked. This was one of those moments I think everybody could get excited about. Like I said, I was pretty excited about it.
It's amazing.
And not just because I'm like an old school Star Trek fan, right? For original Trek and like TNG and, a few of the other spinoffs. But I mean, it was just incredible. I mean, there were a lot of older folks that have done it now. And the fact that a 90-year-old out of shape dude went to space and came back was amazing to me.
Real quick before you scroll down, can you go back up?
When he was out there?
What are you looking at?
No, right there. Like, could there not be a different design? Did they have to go with this?
Oh, you're talking about the shape. Yeah, the phallus shape.
Yeah, it looks like a penis with two, googly eyes.
Those are actually windows, but yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously they're not actually eyes, culture.
Oh, okay. Well, Jayne, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I think it has to be aerodynamic or whatever. So they shaped it in the safest way possible.
Everybody knows the penis is perfectly aerodynamic.
Well,
that's scientific fact.
It does. There is less friction. I'm not going to go into it. No. Look, I just think it's pretty
inappropriate.
Cool. Look, and here's the thing. I mean, Van Horn, Texas, it took about 10 minutes to get into suborbital space, reaching an altitude above 351,000 feet, which is above the Kármán line of 100 kilometers or 62 miles that typically denotes space. So they were well beyond it. So, and the opportunity to see the world from that perspective, I bet was quite humbling.
Well, do you
Right.
think Shatner like slept with any aliens once he got out there?
Only 10 minutes, dude. I mean, it was 10 minutes up, and I don't even know, maybe 10 minutes down. It was
he had like 9 minutes to
total.
walk around in space. Huh?
Well,
Shatner would find a way.
there was
I've watched the old series.
they got to 0G, they got to float about, and then they got to put themselves back in their chairs and strap themselves back in. And
just seeing the Earth from up there, like
I know, man, those windows, goodness.
I wonder how much they had to pay him off to make sure that they don't ever tell the truth about it being flat.
Space.
What? No, not space. The people that went
Wait, where?
to space.
Okay, what flat? What's flat?
Bro, we're on the back of a turtle. Like, what are you talking about right now?
No, we're not. We're not.
All right.
Yeah, and this is the
Do
thing.
what you will.
The thing is, they could see through the windows, and when they came back to the ground, you could see them through the windows. When they had landed, you could see them. The military drone that they had that circled the capsule after it was when it was touching down, you actually see them inside the capsule, and then they were waving from inside before even the recovery teams showed up. So it was pretty cool. I thought it was fun.
And
Yeah.
it's great promotion for space travel. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
we
is.
need to start
We
getting
need it.
back up there. We need to focus on that. As
Obviously,
crazy as
it was
Earth
all
has
just
become.
CGI.
Yeah, right.
I've read the internet.
I've read the internet.
Did you just say space was CGI?
What? No.
Oh.
The capsule that they went up in was CGI. Come on.
What? How do you? Okay. So anyway, all right. Well, look, this was
Space
kind of
is
fun.
CGI.
This was kind of fun. The only downer is that there's Jeff Bezos. So that was the only downer.
Technically, you're right about space being CGI because like they can't do a whole picture of Earth, so they take what it is and it's CGI, like it's computer generated, so that you have like because like they can't get a camera out far enough to get a shot of all of Earth. So,
But
yeah.
well, does that mean
So
that
we've
Australia,
actually never seen it.
So Australia is
There
not
is a
real
satellite
then?
that does a full
I don't believe in Australia.
Oh, all right. Well, we have a very special guest joining us.
Is he from Australia?
No, actually, he's from.
Of course he's not, because it doesn't exist. Go on.
Well, we might have somebody from Australia, but this is a man who just is getting his channel rolling. Somebody who I admire and respect very much, very well spoken and beloved by many. Well, perhaps all. Our friend George Molho.
How you doing, everyone? Hey, culture.
George.
Thank you for having me on.
Hey.
Jane, how you doing?
Hey,
Matt?
good. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good. I'm sorry about running late. I mean, I went through traffic and then the PC didn't work right when I got home. So I've been sitting here for 20 minutes, like trying to.
You are absolutely fine. I'm so grateful you could join us today. We just got done talking about Mr. Shatner. I'm sure you heard in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And
About how it was fake by like using CGI, and we're on the back of a turtle shell. And
Are you shitting me?
no,
Plot by,
hey, read the
reptilians.
internet.
You always crack me up. No, I saw his live feed when he was getting out of the pod, and all of a sudden you have Bezos going over there. But the problem
green
is
screen.
yeah, you had all these asses in the background who were so damn loud that you couldn't hear a word he was saying. It's like, okay, it's Captain Kirk. Shut up.
Shut up, Wookie.
Hi, Yeti Cast. I've never met you, but I've seen you stuff.
yeah.
Oh,
How you
yeah,
doing?
it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. So what'd y'all think of Captain Kirk besides the green screen?
Oh, okay. No, I thought it was great. I really did. I enjoyed it. I think the only thing I could have done without was the extra Jim or excuse me. Steve, what's his name? Bezos, the guy.
Bezos, yeah.
Jeff Bezos, that's his name. Jeff Bezos' thing. I think somebody called him Mark. I don't know. It was like there was some weird conversation around that. But
There was.
Oh yeah, like secret conversation.
Yeah, you know the secret handshake, that little little circle where they're like wink, wink, Mark. Yeah.
Reptilians.
Yeah, there we go. But I mean, to hear Shatner talk about it again, after I could crank up the volume, he's talking about what impressed him the most. Have you already covered this, or I'm just going over the same territory?
No, we kind of were just talking about. We were just jamming about it. We didn't talk about anything specifically, other than it was kind of a nice moment that we put our Captain Kirk in space. I thought that was cool.
Amazing. But did you hear what he kept saying? He repeated it like 20 times. The impact it had on him. He said going from the blue, he goes from the blue atmosphere all of a sudden like you're piercing through a blanket in the night. I mean, he just remarked on that over.
Yeah,
and
he
over.
compared it to death.
To death. He's like, is that what it is? Death? Only black.
Nothingness.
I thought space was beautiful the way he made it. I was like, hey, what are you doing, Captain Kirk?
Well, at that range, in that area, I don't imagine they got to a point of when they got to apogee that he could actually appreciate everything beyond the capsule, right?
I wonder why they didn't let him get up high enough to see.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Probably because he got the Amazon price halfway only.
There you go.
Should have been a Prime member.
Yeah, he should have. I wish Nimoy was alive. That would have been something to see both of them go up.
It's like, what a bad time to be cheap and skimp out on your plane.
But at least
allowed him to look out those windows. But nope, didn't pay.
At least Takai didn't go up before. I mean, now he has that over Takai.
Oh, all right. This is really funny because they were talking. I guess Mark is Jeff's brother. Okay. And they do probably look alike. That's also probably true. I just thought it was kind of weird because they kept saying, like, I guess it was a joke. Like he must have mistaken like Jeff for Mark or Mark for Jeff or something. I don't.
Or it's an obvious body double from the Body Snatchers.
That's what it feels. It feels like, yeah, they double booked the clones.
Yep.
Don't tell me y'all believe the moon landing was faked, right?
That guy probably does.
Jayne,
how
a giant piece of cheese.
Yeah. First thing you're gonna have to do, George, is prove that the moon is even real to prove that the moon's even real to be landed on.
I see.
Yeah, he's one of those.
I've been looking at it for a while, since I was born. I don't know. A few people.
Because that's what they want you to see.
Right?
So you think it's like the Truman Show? Like past our atmosphere is this huge screen and everything's just big.
Yeah, George. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like it's not that hard. You just put up a giant, carpet, not carpet, but like a sheet. Paint a moon on it.
This is very simple.
Are we
what are you guys understanding here?
Wait. What kind of sheet, though? I mean, like one of those rubber sex sheets where it can get all dirty? Or are you talking like a carpet, a painter's mat?
Think like Streets of Fire with where like they couldn't film during the day. So I mean, they couldn't film at night, so they had to put this giant tarp all over their set, and it was like 120 degrees underneath there.
A great
same
film,
thing.
By the way. I love that film.
I mean, it's a film.
So what do you think, Jayne? Did you like Captain Kirk going into space?
No, I loved it. Loved it. I mean, what I was talking about was I think it's going to boost interest in people going to space again. That was something we sort of put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And maybe this will encourage young people to go into science, go into engineering, go into NASA, go into private industries that are doing this, and push our technology forward because we should be there by now. I don't know why we stopped.
I mean, think about that. Kennedy put us on the path. I mean, within 10 years, look at how much we achieved. And then it's like we all fell asleep. And then you had Columbia and then the shuttle accident. But
were we put to sleep?
Yeah.
By the way, I think I lost everybody with the Streets of Fire reference.
Space didn't pan out for us the way we had hoped, and we never got beyond the moon. NASA became an expenditure that we stopped spending money on, I think, and that's sad. And again, I think Jayne's right. I think these kind of events, especially the Elon Musk project, the SpaceX stuff, I think that's more important than this Blue Origin thing. He's like really committed to getting people into like actual space. So I like that.
And, it opens up a world in terms of, a new economy. There's so much that can be done there. Once we get people there, we can get workers there. We can get mining families there.
Mining. We have another place
opening up trade routes. Yeah, open up trade routes with other beings.
Yeah, we need to do that. We need a gas station to Mars would be a pretty good gas station.
Well, they did find water on the moon, so that's going to be the first thing.
That would be, and that's an outpost. Let's call that an outpost.
That'll be the staging area that they've needed in order to do all these.
Look, by the time this is the weird thing, NASA's plan to get to the moon is the same timetable for Elon Musk to get to Mars. That's messed up. Government versus private, messed up. Same year.
Well, but
Also,
private
one of the
doesn't have all the
original
blue
reasons-
tape
That's
or red tape, whatever.
wow.
One of the original
Wow,
reasons
Freudian.
for that space program was
Yeah.
to basically force the Soviet Union to spend money against them because they knew they were struggling financially. So they
Right.
just kept throwing money at it, and it was a point of pride that the Soviet Union tried to keep up and put themselves into bankruptcy. That was,
Yeah.
that was
That
one of
and
the
Reagan.
reasons.
Absolutely.
You think that's what's happening with Bezos and whatever the other guy's name is?
Musk.
Yeah, like
Musk.
one of them's trying to make the other one spend over, you know what I mean? Like spend all his money so he
You
can be
mean
the
it-
number one guy.
You mean,
So-
is it a measuring contest between them?
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. They've been measuring for a while, dude. If
Yeah.
you look at the richest man thing, those two are swapping places back and forth. And if things are to be believed, swapping other stuff, maybe. I don't know. But Comrade Roof Korean the base for $5 says, lady and gentlemen, check out Jamie Costa's channel. He made/starred in the Kenobi fan film. Check out his 5-minute clip to see the Robin Williams of old.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Take
That
a look
sounds
at
awesome.
that. Yeah,
By
it
the way,
does.
did you see the guy that did Rob Williams, like the screen test, like he was as a younger Robin Williams?
no,
It was
no.
it was pretty amazing. It's out there floating around Twitter. I didn't grab it because it kind of didn't fit into the show, but
Okay.
I was pretty stoked when I saw it. I'm like, that guy could legit play Robin Williams. So he did.
He did it that well, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I'm going to have to look at that.
Did you ever see the one like they added in additional fight scenes between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in New Hope?
No.
Oh,
you're talking
it's
about that?
really good.
You mean the one that was created by a group?
Yeah.
You're not talking about, yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
That's how the
really
fight
good.
should have been.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
Hey, Culture, I have a question for you. What do you think we would be today if we had continued with that enthusiasm and the funding during the Kennedy years all the way through the 70s and 80s and 90s and
interplanetary colonization. We lost
already?
it. Yeah, I think we'd had interplanetary colonization. We would have had possibly obviously mining, minerals and things like that. I think we would have had a more peaceful world, to be honest with you, because everybody would have been trying to they would be using their resources to get into space, to join in this endeavor. And I think you would have gotten a lot closer to, you would never get to a utopia, it's impossible, but a lot closer to a utopian society that we have always been trying to strive for. And I think we would have gone away from fossil fuels and more into splitting the atom, because it's a far more effective power source.
There's no way that would be allowed under the 1954 Greada Treaty. Like, that thing caps what we can do technology wise.
Why would that be? I mean, we always do what we want to do, pretty much. As we see when the government wants.
yeah,
So
but
when does any treaty stop us from doing whatever we want?
When
We
it was
just had a
signed with
treaty.
the Greys,
We just
like
had
they're
a treaty.
the reason why we have the technology that we do.
Well, it's not helping us with our infrastructure.
Right. We just had a treaty, not a treaty for peace. We had a treaty with France to always include them in building and selling nuclear submarines. I mean, they recalled their French ambassador because we cut the deal without them with the Australians.
Right.
There's a little bit of a difference between gray aliens and the French.
Not necessarily. If they're cutting deals with us, it's because they have a weakness we can exploit.
But I like what Culture was saying. I mean, think about where we would be today if they had continued Kennedy's vision. I mean, just that idea that it sometimes makes me sad, but we could still get that back. Maybe these guys, Tesla, and even the other one I can't stand, maybe they could reignite it. I mean, Shatner, when he said everyone needs to do this, that was amazing. It's like that's a commercial.
Yeah, it was. They could clip that just like they did. I'm going to Disney World right after the Super Bowl win, right? You're 100% right, George. That's exactly what they should do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I believe that's one of those stories I like to start off with, because something we can all talk about, we can grind on, we can burn 25 minutes up and just say that's amazing. By the way, George, have you launched your channel? I know the intro's up there.
The intro's up. The video is going to be up either Friday or Monday. It's now in editing.
Awesome. Love it. Can't wait.
Editing. Yeah, it's been a learning experience because I was like, okay, I wrote everything out. I started shooting it, and then it's like, then I found out that I left the banner up during the entire time, so I had to reshoot it. Then I discovered it anyway. So it's been exciting, a little bit of a grind, but I love it. I've fallen in love with this.
You will. It is a labor of love, and you have in different people. They move about it quickly, but I have a feeling you're going to do quite well, quite quickly. I can't wait. We have a lot of other stories to talk about, and I like to promote our friends over at Bounding Into Comics, and I know Scott does too. So we're going to start with some articles from Bounding that I'm sure some of you have already heard about, talked about, or otherwise been involved in. But let's go ahead and get it up here. We're going to talk about Dean Cain blasts DC Comics making Superman attracted to dudes. Calls it bandwagoning. That's an interesting term. Dean Cain, obviously they try to make him look ridiculous in this picture, I guess.
Yeah.
But he is he's an interesting guy. I mean, somebody who actually played Superman on television, probably somebody who could have done it in films. But this obviously is written by the boss over there, John F. Trent, who I think did a great job. Former Superman actor Dean Cain played Clark Kent in Lois and Clark in The New Adventures of Superman, reacted to DC Comics' announcement that their new Superman is attracted to dudes. DC Comics announced October 11th that their new Superman, Clark Kent's son, Jonathan Kent, will be attracted to men in an upcoming issue of Superman, Son of Kal-El, in November. In the blog post, DC Comics claimed, just like his father before him, John Kent has fallen for a reporter. After initially striking up a friendship with reporter Jay Nakamura,
he doesn't even have his own story.
Nope.
They're just replaying the same thing. Wow.
Yeah.
But with a twist.
What's the twist?
Well, I don't know. Is there a twist in it? Have you seen it, Matt? I don't
know. He's gay.
Something?
Like that's the twist.
Oh, I see.
That's not
the
a
exact
twist
same story.
anymore.
But
they keep doing that now to everyone. So it's like I think they haven't figured out that it's 2021, not 1981, and that no one cares. And all you're doing is just taking legacy characters to piss fans off. Why don't they have how many stables of writers do they have? Write a new character.
Yeah.
Have them interact with Superman or Batman or whoever it is. Why do you need to take canon characters which already have their history and autobiography established?
Because of equity. Like they've had so much more time than a new character. It's not fair. So thus they need to take old characters and change them into whatever agenda they're wanting to push. And that would be equity.
Right, but it doesn't ever work. Yeah, it's
lazy. You can take that same amount of time and build up a new character and make them great.
Yeah.
Why rush it? And then do it in the cheapest way possible. It's like if his son is gay, okay, fine, whatever. Have him be his own character, right? He doesn't have to be Superman. He could be his own thing. And make us love and enjoy him first as he is as a person. And then introduce whatever his relationships are. Why is that hard?
Absolutely. No. Jayne is spot on, but think about it. Lazy is the word, but it's also agenda. I mean, why would you take the risks? This is what I can never get. I mean, I understand why they're doing it, but somehow in my gut, I just don't get it. No matter what, they're a business. You entertain, you create art. You have to make money in order to keep creating your art. And the first thing you do when you put this out is you infuriate everyone of my age, everyone who's been reading the comics for years of these certain characters. So you're not engendering any positive feelings. Instead of saying, hey, you know what? We created this whole new character. I wouldn't even mention gay. If he ends up being gay, so what? It shouldn't be this banner. Again, 2021 people.
Well, but that, I mean, are they banking on our reaction, George? Do you think they're?
I think they are.
My reaction to this was like, well, okay. It's like you've reached the point where not only do I not care anymore, but you're diminishing the value of the original characters because, as Jayne pointed out, and she's 100% right.
Absolutely,
they just rewrapped him from the original origin story.
Right. The only thing I don't like, I don't like that. That's a different word. I don't like how it is actually. People are becoming apathetic to it. And I think it's important for us to hold on to these heroes that we've loved since we were kids and we're not buying into the new agenda. but to voice what's wrong with it, saying, hey, go make a new character. This is our hero the way it was written. If you want, once you make the new character, have him in the same comic, have them meet each other, have them go fight crime or stop aliens or the world ending. You see what I mean?
Well, speaking of aliens, that's actually kind of what they're doing. They're having him protest the stopping of illegal immigrants being stopped from coming over the border. It's weird. You would think that, I don't know, with all of his power, he would try to focus on the root cause of it, not the symptom. You know,
Right.
you gotta. He's like, nah, fuck the disease. I'm all about the symptom. Like, I'm not
That'd
gonna
be
worry about-
asking a little too much of
Right?
them, of those writers. They can't think beyond that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Having him
it
go
is.
after cartels and bad guys, which is essentially what he did, what his dad did. So it doesn't quite make much sense. His son is just focused on this person, and then this is the introduction to this new character they've introduced as his significant other. I mean, it's so shallow, and they don't even see how shallow it is.
You're right. It's kind of like a porn theater in a way. It's like porn politics. They're pushing politics for nothing else than politics. I mean, where is their value in this?
There isn't. It's just that it makes no logical sense because, like you said, there's no financial benefit. I mean, you could say it were a cash grab, except that the people who are supporting it aren't buying the comics in significant numbers. So it's not even that. It's just pure attention, and then they end up having to cancel it.
Right.
So what was the whole point?
That's why some. Yeah, go ahead, Culture.
No.
Sorry.
All I was going to say is all the comic runs that are like this, they are constantly rebooted because they aren't successful. Because while you make maybe this is the shock grab, like everybody's saying, a cash grab, it's shocking, people will buy the first issue, but after that
they will.
But they peter out, right? I mean, I'm not wrong. I mean, we've seen this. How many times has Captain Marvel been rebooted under its current iteration? I mean,
five,
maybe.
I think it's 5.
You have Riri Williams. They're trying to make her something. You have Miss.
And that was one they really could have developed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
With
there was
this-
so much potential there.
Yeah.
With this industry, success isn't based on sales.
What is
Well,
it?
You know, that's
clearly.
not what they're going for anymore.
Well.
At least that's what the writers are.
What do you
Like-
think they're going for? Just pure agenda?
Well, pleasing everyone else in their sphere, and it seems to help them fail upwards. Like you take a main character and then you throw them, completely change it, and you'll get offered a deal somewhere else because now you've
that's a
pleased
good
the right
point.
people.
That's a good point. So they're actually not writing for anyone except their bosses and their social circle.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
social circle,
That's
for the
a good
higher
one.
ups and the connections at Netflix or Amazon.
That's a good point. Never thought of that. Thank
Makes
you.
sense.
Yeah.
And Sam, you're not wrong, and I know the McCabe's are out there. Thanks for being there, guys. If you're available, I think the link's out there. But look, this is one of those things where I don't know. They've already, they spilled the tea. So what is there to consume here? And
Yeah,
here's
they always lead with the agenda. It's like, why don't you lead with the story for a change? What are you telling me about this character? Who is he as a person? What are
They
his
don't understand
values?
that. They think that is the story. The agenda's a story. Like they don't understand structure. And I mean, how many times have we seen them take immutable characteristics and turn that into a personality trait
Yeah.
when
Right.
that's not personality?
The only thing I would add is that if this were their first time, I could say, yeah, they don't realize it. But how many times have they done something similar with, I don't know what they call her, Mrs. Thor, Jayne Thor, or Lady Thor. When they did that, that comic crashed. Yet they would have reviewers come out from the mainstream, meaning like, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like, yeah, what are your sales?
Well,
Yeah.
and that's George. You're right on top of it, and yet they're making a film out of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Right. The only good news is I know that she dies, which makes me happy. But anyway.
Well, yeah, it's just that's why I was saying it's like they've done this so many times and it's crashed and burned. It's not their first time. So I like what Yeti had to say. It has to be for their social circle because nothing else makes sense.
But here's the thing, and I know for a fact that Mad's focused very closely right now on the hair color,
Right.
on Jay's hair color here. What do you think about that?
Well, where are their lips? That's the first part. Like, they're too lazy to draw a set of lips in there.
Mad.
That's a good point.
Sorry, Mad.
What's up?
Yeah. So what do you think about the hair color here? Is that pretty
I
sharp?
think it's beautiful and brave.
Okay. All right.
You what?
It's beautiful, right? But that's the thing too. They always go for their weird hair colors or the weird haircuts. And it's like, don't you have any other Can you at least make the character look good?
Well, that's because they're original and they're an individual, except for everyone has the same, idea to make themselves an individual and to be different. It's all the same.
You have to be
you
an
can
individual by conforming.
Yeah. Oh, dye your hair like me. You can be non-conforming, just like me.
But here's the thing.
Homogenized conformity.
But they're getting less and less reaction, which means they're getting less and less sales, which they're not getting the thing that they want. If it is for spite, like our friend Sam McCabe says here, it's pure spite.
Right.
They're buying it to piss off the angry man babies. Sure. Except that we're not buying into this anymore. The only reason we're covering this is we're not covering the same way we used to. We don't care. We don't care anymore. In fact, we got a couple super chats. I'll go through them real quick. This is diaper money for Scott right now. So thank you for contributing to Scott's diaper money. Glinser for $5 says comic pros are subservient to white characters created by white men while preaching diversity. Talk about irony. Yeah. Nikki D for $5 says, my cynical mind believes that Marvel DC are purposefully diluting the legacy's characters in order to devalue them in the event they become open domain. Actually, I would believe part of that is true because I think that when the rights revert back to the original estates, which believe me, Disney is doing everything they can to prevent, DC is doing everything they can to prevent. But if they do, those rights do revert to the original creators' heirs. And Ditko's out there still.
Ditko, I think they're going to win unless they settle.
And that's the thing. They will settle for the rights, but at that point, they've established a precedent that he actually was the creator, and then those rights can be reclaimed again later. Except that by then they might make it into the public domain. But I do understand this point, Nikki D, and I think you're probably on the right path.
There's a reason,
point. And if it works, I mean, that would have been brilliant. Then all of this would be brilliant.
There's a reason why they've recreated each one of the characters. With Spider-Man, there's so many variations. So once they lose the rights to Spider-Man, well, then they've got, 3 other versions that they can set up. They do that with Iron Man and all these other ones, a secondary character no one really likes, but, eventually that's what they're going to have to use because they're going to lose the rights to the original authors.
Right. And I think Sam is pretty funny. He's like, I'm not disappointed in the fact that he's bi. Yeah, nobody could care. I'm disappointed he fell for a colored hair problem glasses type.
I like that.
All right. And Storyman Jack has been a member for 12 months at the hot pie level for Scott on his channel. And he's a special chat for members that doesn't show up anywhere. StreamYard, YouTube Studio. It only shows up in the chat in real time. So I will read it. It says, this is why I write my own stuff. Better than DC trash. Yes, Storyman Jack, you are a heck of a writer. Guys should be checking out what he's doing right now. Let's see. Mad. I haven't been getting your thoughts on this. I'd like to hear them.
What, on this Superman stuff?
Yeah.
What's there to say? Like we know what they're doing. I mean, it's nothing new. Ooh, look at that sexiness. The heat, the intensity.
It doesn't even look like a man.
Looks like a girl. Has facial, you know what I mean, feminine features around.
Yeah, an effeminate
maybe
man,
he just doesn't
except
know?
for the jaw.
Yeah, it's it's like what they did in the What If episodes with Thor. Where his facial structure was very feminine.
But they do that with all the characters now. You don't see any feminine female characters out there, and then the masculine ones they feminize. Right. It's like a total reversal, and nobody wants to buy that stuff because we know what feminine and masculine look like, and there's people want to embrace that. Like there's a reason why the feminine features have sold for decades, centuries. Like people appreciate it.
But that's what they're trying to blur. I mean, that's what so much of this is about.
Well, they're trying, but
people
won't accept it.
I hope that, but the problem is that they're getting into children's entertainment now.
That's
Yeah.
the
And
problem.
And what we think
Yeah.
is natural isn't necessarily part of it is cultural. Part of it is how you're raised and what you see every day. And if you have these globby, non-gendered, weird caricatures of people in children's entertainment, they very well may grow up, unless they have very strong households with, and be values to them. They're going to grow up thinking that it's perfectly fine for men and women to not have any distinguishing features.
Well, just to push back a little bit on that, kids have been checking out of these franchises because of this stuff. Like the kids naturally understand, and they've done research with rhesus monkeys and newborns, where they would show them toys. They take a female monkey, female baby, and they'd show it a female toy. They do that with a male toy. They give them a choice between each, and
so you're talking
by and large,
about
they always went after what their gender was. Like they got this intuitive thing right after birth that male monkeys go for the Tonka truck, and the female ones went for something more plushy. Like this is ingrained in us.
Yeah, you're talking about nature versus nurture, which I agree with you. I think nature will always, in the end, win, just because it's ingrained in us.
Well, and to speak to what Frankie Knows says here, do they mention how many of these got printed? I wouldn't think there's a huge demand. Seems like a novelty. Well, no. As a matter of fact, the issue number 5 comes out on November 9th. I don't know. Who knows the printing numbers anymore? We don't know. I mean, I don't think Comicron tracks any of that stuff. I mean, there's no way. Hasn't this moved over to a different publishing house? I don't think it's with Diamond anymore. Didn't they pull out?
Oh, I think they're with Penguin.
Penguin, yeah, that's what I
thought. Penguin has changed.
Somebody fact checked me.
No, it's Penguin. Right. It's Penguin. We talked about that last week. It's gone to Penguin. It's just that I thought they were still listing their print runs. Are they not?
But I don't think they're listing those numbers. I mean, I'll go searching for them. I absolutely will, but I don't think so. But I would agree with Frankie. I mean, Frankie would know, to be honest with you. Go ahead.
Oh, so I do know that previously, when they did release numbers, they released the number that got shipped to the comic retailers, but not their sales and returns.
Yeah.
So they would end up, saying, "Oh, we made this. The comic is doing so incredible. 100,000 were out. Well, really, there was only a couple thousand sold, and the rest got returned and burned."
Right. And how many of those, all the variant covers they create, how Gary's covered it how many times? So they force them to buy them, like, you have to get this or else you
Yeah.
They
don't give them a choice in that.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. There are fewer and fewer collectors that are going to do that and buy all the variants. There are fewer and fewer collectors that are getting involved because it's no longer an investment, because they're becoming worthless. They are making the very product they produce worthless. Back issues, that's what people want to be, on top of. And that's just the way it is. So,
and manga.
Yeah. Manga for sure. Yeah. You're 100%
manga
right.
is, Demon Slayer. A single book is outselling the entire North American market.
I know I heard that. I didn't know if that was true. That's true, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. True. I heard that and I was like, is that possible? Wow.
Yeah. Well, and that's why what's her name changed her tune, right? Kelly Sue DeConnick, right? She's why. Yeah. That was a stealth interview. We never got any context for when that was, only that it was like 6 or 9 months before we found it, right? Because nobody had seen her saying, well, yeah, we kind of destroyed this crap. Yeah, no kidding. Matt, you have some thoughts, I bet.
Nope.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.
Sorry, I was messing with things in the back.
Oh, I don't need to hear your personal stuff. Okay, Storyman Jack for $10 says,
wasn't
Star
personal.
Wars.
I did it on the audio. You could hear it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you mean like Justin, when Justin went to the bathroom in the stream? Anyway, Storyman Jack for $10. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, etc., all turned to trash. I'm done with the mainstream until they get more sense. Can do better off the top of my head. In fact, I have over 60 stories on the channel, and he does, guys. If you're looking for a good story, especially a well-performed story, and he's now doing his own music and stuff, which is bonkers. Check out Storyman Jack's channel, and especially this month, October, he's releasing 1 story a day for October for Halloween.
But he's right. I mean, some of the fan movies on YouTube are 1,000 times better than what's coming out in the mainstream today.
Oh yeah, for
No,
sure.
absolutely. The independent content creators are outstripping these people left, right, and center. I think that's why they hate all of the independent channels. I mean, think about it. I mean, Superman should be selling out as he used to. I mean, do you remember when Death of Superman came out and it was in the sealed bag, had the black liner?
Yeah.
I remember I was waiting in line for hours when they announced it's like Death of Superman. I mean,
yeah, and you have to remember, you remember when you used to buy, and now they're selling toys this way, or Disney is. They're selling pins as like mystery box toys and stuff.
yeah.
But you used to get comics like that. You used to go into the comic shop. There'd be a 3-pack you could buy. It came straight from the retailer, not from the shop.
Right.
And every once in a while you get an amazing book in the 3 books, and then you'd also get like stupid Scrooge McDuck comics.
Yeah.
But so for every like Scrooge McDuck comic you got, or Huey, Dewey, and Louie, or whatever.
Which I liked those.
Archie. I loved Archie.
I loved Archie.
Right, but you would get one amazing book, right? So like I'd get like something cool, and I was like, this is a cool way to get comics, and it was worth my $1.25 that I saved my allowance to take my bike down to the 7-Eleven and get my my Coca-Cola Slurpee and get my freaking pack of comics.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things, and it bothers me so much that kids don't do that anymore. Kids don't get up, go down to the corner store, get their comics, and pedal home. It blows my mind that doesn't happen. But the boss says, I never saw a toy with genitals. Well, I don't know.
I didn't either.
Never saw a toy with genitals.
Are there toys with genitals?
No.
None of the characters. No Star Wars. No Ken. No Stretch Armstrong. Not the green Stretch Armstrong. The monster one. Whichever. None of them had genitals.
I mean, I added my own, but
Matt,
Of course
can you
you
read this?
did.
Yeah, Matt, can you read this real quick?
yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, this the baby said
Yeah.
great point, Matt. Summer loving.
There you go. I love that. By the way, that's a great song in Greece, let me tell you. But yeah, can you read this part though?
Never seen it.
This is the pertinent part here, Mad. This is from the DC Comics creative chief. Go ahead.
DC Comic Chief Creative Officer and Publisher Jim Lee also stated, "We couldn't be more prouder to tell this important story from Tom Taylor and John Timms." He added, "We talk a lot about the power of the DC multiverse in our storytelling, and this is another incredible example. We can have John Kent exploring his identity in the comics, as well as John Kent learning the secrets of his family on TV, on Superman and Lois. They coexist in their own worlds and times, and our fans get to enjoy both simultaneously."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. I think the fans that you're shooting for are a little different.
Look at that.
They don't buy.
Man,
Like they'll praise this to no end on Twitter, but they will never go out and spend any money on this stuff.
Yeah, none at all. I mean, when I go to the comic store and go for back issues, you never see what you would consider someone on Twitter. Like when they're on their phones, not at all. They don't purchase these things. They just talk about it, bitch about it.
Yeah, that goes the same with TV shows. How often have they talked about Batwoman? But look at the ratings. No one's watching Batwoman except for the mothers of the people on the show.
And they're probably not watching.
They gave up.
I watched the first episode. That's it.
Well, the CW, but that's the whole CW, right? They can't. They rebooted a show and couldn't get 300,000 people to watch it.
Right.
It's that whole network. And mind you, we're still calling it a network, right?
Right.
That whole network. They don't draw anything. They can't compete with wrestling. Not one of their programs.
They
used to have such good
Supernatural.
programs.
Yeah, they used to have
They could have been a
Supernatural.
powerhouse.
Yeah.
A long time ago, they had Supernatural, and then when the Flash started and Green Arrow, that was like their golden era when they had those three going.
Yeah, the first season of Arrow, right around then, they were flying high, and then they just decided to start shooting themselves in the foot.
They just went nuts.
The terrible writing.
So
what happened to the writers? That's what I don't understand.
Well, they moved on to other projects. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
I kind of have a like a theory about this, about how you can track as this progressed and got worse. If you look at Game of Thrones and the Vikings on the History Channel, right?
Mhm.
As the years go on, you can actually see it progress into this, oh, we're going all in on this wokeness. Like, and it just gets worse as each season progresses. You know what I mean? And you can just see it being developed like as you're watching, like, you know, each season. And yeah, it's really weird if you go back and watch it and like, you know what I mean? If you binge it, you can just see the change in what they're doing.
Another 3-season example of that is Roswell, when they rebooted it, and each season was literally the next phase in wokeness.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's the continue. This is the problem: is they start out with good episodes in the front, and you get into a show. Of course, they didn't do that with Batwoman, but that was never going to happen.
It could have.
Well,
like,
it could have.
there was a lot to work with, but
It
that's
started.
happened.
What was there to work with though? She was found the thing down by the river.
Oh, okay. So I meant if you go off by the comics and, you know, some of the interesting stuff that happens there, not what they actually did on screen.
So if they just didn't do what they did, it would've been great.
So it's one thing if you're talking about a season that's going to trick you into like, no, everything's cool, man. There's not that many women in it. We promise. And then like 3 episodes you're in, it's all women. Ugh. But what I'm talking about is actually,
Oh Lord.
over years, like over multiple seasons, you can see this gradual like turn into what we see today. And it just like by like the 4th or 5th season in like the Vikings, whatever, like it just boom, it just go for it, man. You're like, oh wow.
Westworld is a good example of that.
Perfect example.
With
Season
Vikings, I
1.
think it just went on way too long. I mean, they tried to do the generational thing, and
Well, they dropped, like they went so hyper woke in season 2, and they took one of the best shows ever. Like that first season is so phenomenal.
Fine.
The way it's written. Oh come on,
I
it
didn't
is
like the
a
fun-
well-written show.
It was fine.
I like
Okay.
the first season a lot.
Like I dropped the CW. I just started back up when they had Superman and Lois, and I was like, I hope they don't mess this up because it brought me back to their channel, but I wouldn't watch anything else. But Westworld to me, I think it was a phenomenal show. Great cinematography. The last episode of the first season, I didn't groove to, but other than that, it was okay.
I didn't either, and that actually was one of the shows I was reviewing when I first started doing YouTube videos. Was I was covering the last season of it, and I felt like this has gone so far off the rails, and there was so much room in this world to do something better than what they elected to do, and they took it completely intersectional. I mean, Gary is 100% right, and it destroyed the show. And I'm telling you, its popularity has already waned.
Plummeted. It plummeted.
But you know, it is what it is. It's the world we live in. I think. I don't know.
But it's the same for Watchmen. You remember Watchmen when it came out?
I
mean,
do.
you got one season. I couldn't get through an episode.
Nope.
And that's who's writing the new Blade.
Oh,
Like
come on.
2 episodes, I was out.
Yep,
The new
that
Blade
writer
being
is
written
doing
by
the
that-
new Blade.
Oh my god.
But
And
another
I'm-
one oh no,
No.
go ahead.
Wait a minute.
Oh
wait a
no,
minute.
I'm just not like Blade was one of my favorite characters growing up. I loved that. I watched those movies so many times, and to hear this writer's coming on, like it just killed everything inside me.
Wesley
don't they have-
Snipes is Blade.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
I will say I was looking forward to you just mention that
Yeah.
because I think he's a phenomenal actor. I was like, I could see him playing
Oh,
Blade,
he's a good actor.
but I think Wesley Snipes is it. He's Blade. He should have been it. He still looks phenomenal.
Yes.
I think he could pull it off any day of the week, and it would have worked because he ages slower as the character.
Yes, yeah.
So the time frame would have worked.
You just had to bring up the story, just a little bit more into the future, so it works out for his aging. But Blade does age, so it fits perfectly for him, and you could tell a story there.
Matt,
I'm
sorry.
cool with them having a new Blade. I mean, we've had that happen, quite a few times.
Sure.
But story-wise, if they do that whole he's oppressed thing, I'm
I
just
guarantee they will.
Well, Matt,
not gonna take it.
Matt, you said you made it through 2 episodes of that show.
Of The Watchmen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barely, because I was going to review it too. And then, I mean, I just got so frustrated with all the police stuff. And I'm like, none of this makes sense. None of this would be a solution to what you're saying caused it. You're idiots. This is dumb. I just was yelling. That was before the squid started falling from the sky. By the way, Blade, ready to die? I was born ready, motherfucker. Sorry.
Yeah,
I love Blade.
It was awesome from the very beginning. I'm sorry. Wesley Snipes is one of my favorite actors of the time. In everything he did, he was great. Demolition
The
Man,
Fan.
Blade,
Passenger 57.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, this dude
The Fan.
He was a bad mofo, you know, and loved him, loved the man. This is a good question. I don't know if anybody of you guys saw this, but Quartering, Jeremy over at the Quartering did a video on what might be the Disney social media rules for all of its productions.
What happened?
You have to offend one fan every day, otherwise you're fired.
No, it's the inverse of that. They're trying to get a handle on stop attacking fans so we can actually make money. Of course, at the same time, and this is not a subject for this stream, but Facebook is going to start making it so you can't call out journalists and activists on their platform for being wrong and lying and all of the other stuff.
Wait. What does that mean? You mean you can't leave a comment?
You can't be derogatory in any way that attacks them, and of course that's incredibly vague.
What's attack? I disagree with you. I think you're an idiot.
Yeah. Well, these are the places that you've lied in the course of telling this story. Yeah, I think that they're going to be able to say, because it's so vague, that anything that if you would disagree with people who are these activists and so-called journalists, that they don't fall under the public figure the same way that a politician might.
Right.
But what does that matter when they let people trash each other all the time?
It's a step. Hey, it's a step towards the
1984.
But it's a kinder, more gentler Facebook. And we like I said, that wasn't a point of discussion for today, but I thought that was an interesting story.
Well, remember when they called? Remember when they called learn to code an attack? So journalists were losing their jobs because they've run the media companies into the ground, and so people thought it was kind of ironic and just started saying learn to code. The exact same thing they told the truckers and coal miners to do.
Oh yeah.
So that got shut down so quick by I know Twitter, I think on Facebook too.
They did Instagram too.
Yeah, they banned people for saying learn to code just to a journalist.
People.
They got pissed because Trump said it, because he's like, all of y'all are complaining. So he's like, go learn to code. Isn't that the same thing you told the coal miners? And all the blue collar workers?
And it's advice. Get another skill.
All I have to say is, let's go, Brandon. So on that note, the problem is that you're expecting entertainment. This isn't entertainment. This is propaganda, and propaganda isn't entertaining. Is anyone's favorite Bugs Bunny cartoon when they shill war bonds?
No.
I kind of like them for the nostalgia, but
yeah.
I don't know. Did you see the recent propaganda from North Korea? That was kind of entertaining.
So which one?
Oh, okay. So they had them destroying things with their arms and fists, and it looked like an act that you'd see in Vegas. It was ridiculous. It came out the other day.
But that's the thing. I think it proves the point, though. You can tell when it's propaganda. Even in the past, you could tell when they were trying to push an agenda versus pure entertainment.
Right.
And that hasn't changed. People can still tell the difference.
Oh, you're talking about Colbert last week with his dancing. What were they? They look like toothpaste tubes, but you know what I'm talking about. It's
yeah.
Oh, God, that was creepy.
That was. It's I felt wow, man, this is like a Pravda, sponsored by Pravda.
They paid for the ad time. They get to promote it however they want.
Wait a minute. Wait, Kamala hired actors, right, to be in that thing?
Yeah, the kids were all actors.
So messed up, man. So messed up.
Yeah,
what do you really think of everything? Oh, wow.
I don't know. Let me look at my script. Okay.
I mean, you can't trust non-actor kids to say what you need them to say. What if they say something? Yeah, what if they say something like, "You guys are really fucking up the economy"? You know what I mean? Nobody wants that. Can't let that be in a video.
They were supposed to reset her image. It made it worse.
Yeah. Well, the moment you start to get revealed for the fraud that you are,
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry. I mean, and believe me, that's fraudulent. You set that all up, presenting it to the public as a piece of propaganda. You are committing fraud. So, and you know what? Are you surprised? I'm not.
All right, but talk about propaganda. Brandon 2 weeks ago has his a new set for the Oval Office across the street from the Oval Office.
Well, yeah, the other one was it was being used to film something.
To film something.
Yeah, it was Dirty Randy.
Dirty Randy. So Brandon and Dirty Randy. Okay, interesting.
Dirty Randy, he's from the league. He was a porn director. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Madam Vice President, are you going to be doing something about the border crisis? Shut up, kid. Anyway, is he frozen? What's happening with culture? He's supposed to be leading this thing. I'm just like,
he was just saying
culture.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to absorb everything that you're saying, and it makes me. I don't know. The future is going to be weird. We're at the tipping point. I think we've finally reached it, and we're going to have to call it out one way or another. And we're going to have to get more people on our wavelength. We're going to have to get more voices out there. We need George to be out there. We need more voices fighting against.
I think it's growing.
I think
people are starting to get sick of this.
I actually think we're doing fine. I used to get down about it, but when you actually look around and start talking to people, just like we're having a conversation, you hear a pattern emerge. I'm tired of X. I'm going to school boards. I'm getting involved in this. Everything that we should have been doing long before.
A long time ago, yeah.
A long time ago. But at least now people are slowly waking up. The biggest problem is this. If we can figure out exactly, 'cause you pretty much have two groups. People who know what's going on, but ignore it because then they'll be faced with their actions. They're like, I'll have to act. I'll have to say something. I'll have to do something. And then you have the other people who are literally blind and don't know. The group that I always talk to are the ones who know what's going on. And you just have to give them that little bit of courage to say, stand up. You can do it. Go forward. That's the people I think we can reach.
And you guys are right. 100%. All politics are local. We've been hearing that our entire lifetime. I'm a 50-year-old dude, and I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, that's true. So now I'm going to work for every school board candidate I possibly can, which doesn't need any support at all because you could just be Joe Schmo and run for school board. But I'm going to work with those people to get them in places so that we can fight back. And not only are we going to ban stupid garbage like CRT, no, we're going to make it so you can't even answer questions. It cannot be brought up as a subject. You can't even talk about that because
now it's labeled terrorism.
Well, no, look, parents are allowed to help with their kids. It's part of, child rearing. The nannies.
Yeah, you have to supplement your child. That was my experience when I was growing up. The public school system was the public school system. And so, luckily my mom had enough sense to know that half of it was wrong and it was her responsibility to supplement it with other books. And we went to the library almost every week.
And people
I hear you, Jane. Exactly the same thing. My mother sat next to me every day when it'd be time for school.
Every day.
For the homework, she's like, "Do you have any homework?" "No, I did it all." "Okay, yeah, let me see that." But she'd sit there and we'd work it all together.
Whether they assigned it or not, we'll move to the next chapter then.
Yep, exactly. See, you had a great mom. That's exactly that. That's what we've needed for a long time. I think we just hit that stage where I think everyone just became very, very comfortable and distracted. I mean, think of all the new things that happened in the last 20 years with the advent of the internet. Many people became like giant kids. Look at all the toys. Look at this new life. Look at who I can meet, what I can see, where I can go. I think it just distracted all of us.
I mean, you could tell how few problems there are just based on what the next thing people get outraged by. It's always the smallest thing where if it was 50 years ago, they wouldn't care because they had bigger things to worry about.
Like hunger.
Now, people are so comfortable that it's like, oh my God, you said a word. And
it's not just that they're comfortable. It's also that people have like this innate desire to rebel. You know what I mean? I always use the guy remember the guy that flipped out about Starbucks not having Christmas stuff on the cup?
Oh God,
Yeah,
He's like, this is the war on Christmas. And when I saw that, I'm like, dude, how great is your life that this is your thing? This is the hill that you're going to die on. And it was before all of this stuff. Like, this really was the only thing he had. Like, how great is your life? This is the thing.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go
You're-
through what you
No,
said.
please, George. As soon as you're done, then I'm going to read the super chat.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. Well, all I was going to say is that guy, you know, they later interviewed him, and why he wigged out. It's because of the fact that he had tried to put up Christmas decorations for his home, for his kids, and his community had outlawed them. Then he tried to do it at work.
What?
Yeah. They had said, you know, because of new HOA guidelines, you can't show anything that would be considered religious based. So it actually had happened where it was, obviously he had the extra time. He was viewing it through the eyes of everything that I believed in, everything that I lived, all the traditions I was raised with are one by one being taken away.
Of course, sir.
And he found the coffee cup to be the hill to die on. But that's, you know, I see Mad's point of view. But everyone
By the way,
has
if you would have
every-
walked inside, they had all kinds of Christmas CDs.
They
If you go to the
did.
website, they have all kinds of Christmas.
But it was
stuff there.
irrational. You're right, they did. It was just one of those irrational things. But I would rather have some idiot say this bugs me than go, okay, I'll just take it and leave. I hear
Right.
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
He obviously had somehow a pretty good life, that could be the thing that bugged him.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we need to motivate in people to say, don't just turn away.
Right.
Take some action. Well, my action, I mean, is just speak up. Write a letter to
March.
your congressman. Go local. March. No violence. Violence to me is every time I tell people, they're like, "You mean violence?" I mean, no. Violence is
No,
the
violence is the
laziest
worst.
form of action. You have
And you
a
become
brain.
what you hate. Like,
Right.
just over time, you're guaranteed
Yeah.
to turn into what you're fighting
Yep.
against.
Yeah, you don't want to behave like BLM did in
Mm-mm.
Portland or other places where, you know, you are now a nuisance, you're a criminal. You're
Right.
not. That's not what you want to become, right? And again, I mean, the fact that people supported that and political candidates donated
The
to,
problem was the criminality.
well, that's true.
The nuisance part was part of that's what the protesting has always been about.
Okay, but so nuisance wasn't the right word, but no, you're right. I mean, but okay, you can create inconvenience. That's what, you know, the sit-in for Wall Street was, right? So
I look at the original protester, Mahatma Gandhi, took down an empire out of his country without being violent.
Well,
Yeah.
a good example to bring it back to the entertainment side just might be Comicsgate, because
Yeah.
they saw the issue and
Mhm.
they just started putting out their own stuff because they're like,
Exactly.
I'm done. I'm done with the mainstream. I'm done with what they're pushing and what they're saying about me. I'm just going to put out some books,
Yep.
and people have flocked to it. You've got multiple six-figure books that are
Right.
outdoing mainstream comics now.
Right. Yeah. And you have people who are just growing their stuff. I mean, you have lots of people, Mandy, you have people in our very own Rogue community. You've got, obviously, Red Gaze with Sunsworn. You've got Miriam Noah with her Bonds the Drive book. You've got, Anthony, Dark Magic Comics. You've got a lot of people that are doing this, that are building up the independent movement. In fact, EVS is the one that brought attention to this story before it broke. And everybody that was in the comics pro side, why did you do this? Why did you feel like necessary to do this? He's like, because it's a story, and I bring stories and what's happening in comics on the pro side to the people that I know. And you know what? There are people who are pros that don't like what you're doing to these characters like Superman. But I'm going to read this super fast. It's from Valliant Renegade for $4.99. It's been up here for a while. You hear about Kamala's new book? What Willie Brown tastes like.
Oh, I'd buy the book.
Real quick, I think what we're waiting on, and I like that you brought up Gandhi, because the same thing with MLB, that nonviolence is all about, like, just having a slight shift in the lens through which, like, we see society. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think for people it comes in different forms. For me, it was The Last Jedi. I watched that. I'm like, something isn't adding up.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't what I know as Star Wars or just good storytelling. And then, you know what I mean? And that brought me around to here. But I think, different people, whether it be a positive twitch or a negative one, the shift. It just depends on the individual person, but it will happen. It's taking a long time for some people apparently.
But I think
we're starting to see it now.
Independence is a huge part of it in whatever sphere you're talking about, be it civil rights or be it entertainment. At the end of the day, competition rules in this society. Mm-hmm. So if you're not getting what you need from the mainstream, if you're not getting what you need from government, whatever, then create your own. Do your own thing. Make your world that you can control what you need it to be. And that's something that, it's a lesson that we are slowly learning. Mm-hmm. And to bring it back to BLM briefly, that was something that, I was saying back then, that the whole protesting thing, all of it was a complete and utter waste of time. And that's something they should have learned a long time ago. It would have made a whole lot more sense to do what? Engage in your political system. Right. Because all these people are elected officials. Why not go that route? Run for office, be the change you want to see, that whole thing. And it applies in entertainment too. Be the change you want to see. You don't like today's entertainment? Create your own.
Absolutely. Amen, Jayne. That's right. That's one of the reasons I think the networks in Hollywood hate YouTubers and independent content creators, because it's the one thing they cannot organically do. They can script the hell out of a production, but they can't compete with the interactive experience that you can right here with a live audience, because it will look
authenticity.
Phony. Right. It will look phony because it's not organic.
It's not a real conversation, I mean, and that's the thing. It's one of the reasons why I love when Jayne's on a panel that I'm on, is because I know there's realism in the conversation. She has amazing voice. Of course, everybody loves her voice, but she's got incredible opinion. She's brilliant, and she brings all of that to the table. And that's, it's like when I hang out with Mad, when Mad and I aren't doing bits, he's a pretty bright guy, right? And George, it's a great privilege getting to know you as I have now, where your intellect is outstripped so many people on the platform. I appreciate your insights, and I think it's amazing. But look,
I feel left out.
Well, Yeti, you do a different form of entertainment. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, the trailer you did today is genius. It's genius. I think more people need to go and see it, because what you put together is just a lot of fun, and it puts candy corn exactly where it needs to be. But look, beyond that, I have to do something. This is for Scott, and I know Scott said do what I want with his channel, but I know he wants to run one of his commercials, so I'm going to run a commercial. We'll be right back. This is a short one, and we're going to talk a little bit more about DC Comics, but about something different. So here we go.
Who is better, me or Stephen Walton?
You're really here?
I'm here.
You're a real person?
Who should hit 2K first, myself or Stephen Walton?
Stephen who? Guy that wrote that dumb book that nobody bought?
Oh! What do you mean, eat, pray, trees? 2K first, me or Stephen Walton? Me or Stephen Walton to 2K first? Who the fuck is Stephen Walton? All right, me or Stephen Walton to 2K first?
Who's that motherfucker?
Not many people know. Yeah. Okay, so we're here trying to figure out, should I hit 2K first or Stephen Walton? Do you know who that is, Stephen Walton? Exactly. He doesn't matter, people. Subscribe to Sporking News Podcast.
And there you go. Just say thank you for a little promotion, cross promotion there.
That was the best flex Scott could ever have come up with.
Yeah, Scott's trying to promote Stephen right now, and I think it's working. I think it does. And of course, we're gonna go ahead and work on that additional share we had going. Let's do that right now. DC Comics debuts a new trans OMAC in final issue of Superman and the Authority.
What's OMAC?
I don't know, but maybe we'll find out. This again is another one from, well, actually, this is Spencer this time, so this should be fun. This is from the 13th, which is today. Continuing in their obsession with using the legacy identities of their superheroes as cheap attempts at rainbow marketing, as seen in their recent confirmations that both Tim Drake and John Kent are sexually and romantically interested in men, DC Comics has now introduced a transgender version of OMAC in their current comic book continuity. We have a problem. Okay, what is the problem? You don't know the half of it, golden boy. What have you done with Leah? Formidable home defense. Really? Not sure what any of that was, but I don't care. First seen on the covers too, and briefly in the 3rd issue of Grant Morrison's recently concluded Superman and the Authority, the new OMAC makes his full debut in the miniseries final issue, wherein he can be seen lashing out at Apollo out of a mistaken belief that the solar-powered hero has had a hand in the disappearance of his girlfriend, Leah Nelson, better known as the new female incarnation of new god Light Ray. Wow. Comics are beyond me now. Where's Leah?
These new names suck.
Yeah.
They are not catchy.
What have you done with Leah Nelson? If you would stop lashing out for 5 seconds, maybe let me explain.
Just terrible dialogue.
My name is Apollo. I'm on a mission from Superman. I'm stronger than you, so get over it. Help me find her.
Oh my.
Stronger, huh? Power up ×5.
Everybody knows when you start a conversation, you got to announce what your name is.
I can go all the way to 10 if I have to. I'm on your side. When I got here, she was gone.
Look at that hair.
She's been taken. Leah's in danger right now. We're wasting precious time. Leah, baby.
What the hell?
Are they supposed to be a man or woman?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Wow.
Oh, according to Scott, he's choking a tran.
Oh,
yeah, but usually it's to go from one to the other. So, but what is? I can't tell. I feel like I'm going to get in trouble just trying to figure that out.
It has a feminine face.
Does it?
I don't know. Maybe we'll read further and find out.
Yeah.
Interesting that it's dark skin. Why do they keep putting us in this mess?
Do you want to go on?
Wow. Okay. Ultimately, after discovering Eclipso was responsible for Eclipso, Light Ray. We're dumb as rocks. Disappearance and the putting an end to machinations of the villain's handler. And the Ultra Humanite, Light Ray, is invited to join Superman's Authority team. Of course.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, authoritarians, authority. Of course, you got to lean into what you're trying to accomplish. Yeah, before accepting his invitation, Light Ray informs the Man of Steel that she and OMAC are a package deal, stating that wherever she goes, her pink-haired companion goes as well. Okay. Here we are. Most of you, myself included, have reasons to lie low, even disappear for a while. That's exactly what we're going to do. Light Ray, you're central to this, and frankly, you'll be safer far from Earth. I was born on Mars in a parallel universe. I've been promising a social media detox like forever.
What?
Whatever happens, Mac's part of the deal. Mac? What?
What?
Okay. I am rarely at a loss for words. I am.
But what? Even in that conversation, you're making decisions for Mac before asking Mac, whoever that is. What if Mac doesn't want to go?
I guess Mac doesn't have a choice.
Mac's a straight white male. He doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, I think Wookiee supremacy is right. No more.
Frankie hit the nail on the head. OMAC is an anagram for coma, and you feel like you're in one after reading these books. Oh, I don't even know. I have no.
Dude, one panel. It's so boring.
It's not boring. It's disjointed as hell.
I mean, just look at how terrible the art is getting.
It's almost like they're putting hashtags in there. That's why it doesn't make sense. Like, okay, social media detox.
Oh, that's all they know how to speak in. Hashtags.
That's the problem. I think that's the problem with the writing.
They spend their entire life on Twitter, and so now they're writing based on like mini tweets and string that all together. So you've got no idea what's going on because none of them are related.
Because look at the back. Look at the back. And look at the artwork. It says Hero Team Save Summit, Z steps up, Mystery, Mr. and Mrs. So I guess next year they won't even have any words. It'll just be emoji symbols. In bubble. It's gonna be a smiley face, puke face on fire.
I don't know if you've seen some of their other recent comments where they'll have the entire panel and it's just writing. It'll be two figures. There's no background, nothing interesting to look at, just dialogue box after dialogue box after dialogue box.
It's odd as hell, but I think that's what it is. It's hashtag writing, and now we'll move slowly to emoji writing.
Yeah, you got to coin that term because I think you are spot on right there. It's hashtag writing.
When you take literature out of school.
You would think it'd be better if you were taking literature.
I'm getting an idea that both Hollywood and the comic industry right now, I think they go down to, not to berate this point, but I think they walk around, in Los Angeles and they go, okay, anybody raise their hand? Have you been to school? Okay, we don't want you. Has anyone ever worked for Hollywood before on a production? Yeah, no, we don't want you. Does anyone not have experience? And whoever raises their bloody hand is when they go, hey, come over here. What are your politics? Oh, okay, right. Yeah, you get a new job, new house, new car. Here you go. Because none of it else makes sense. Or they're getting 15-year-olds.
I know. I think you're giving them too much credit. Like, I don't think they're going outside. They're just doing that directly on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You just think that they have people that they're actually paying who speak like this? Wow.
And the art. Come on, look at that. That's embarrassing.
That is terrible.
I mean, from the days. Wow. It's not that, it's the language. I'm a writer, so language is important. And I'm just reading that and I'm like, it's like somebody's having grand mal seizures every 30 seconds. Like, and they just keep writing.
And this is a good question. I mean, memes is like, why do we spend time focusing on things you don't like? I mean, these, I don't even know. I didn't know existed until like Scott brought it into my universe. I blame Scott for this, and I'm on a loss, man.
Scott, all life's problems we blame on Scott.
I think to answer the question, I mean, it's because first of all, you're a consumer of this general product.
Right.
And it makes sense, I think, for consumers when they produce stuff for us to buy, that we let them know what we like and what we don't like. I mean, that's just part of, the marketplace of literal ideas.
Well, they've been doing that for the last decade and they haven't listened. How many times has IDW replaced their CEO with the same CEO?
Real quick, I like to answer memes as well. Like Hegel said, learn from the ideas that you dislike. There's plenty to learn from the things that you don't like, as well as the things that you do.
I did learn something. I'm not going to continue on with that story. We lost 7 people. I feel bad.
But too, listening to people like Mahler who go into deep detail about issues with entertainment and content, it helps you if you're a writer yourself to know what not to do, So there's a lot of benefit to it.
No.
Yeah. Same thing with Lit Devil.
I mean, has anybody seen Idiocracy here?
Yeah.
Anyone in the chat seen Idiocracy? I mean, I'm waiting next for after emojis for them to literally do like, ow, my balls. Do you remember that? Where the guy's just sitting on the sofa and he's just, eating the popcorn, drinking in the lazy boy that's a toilet. He's like, oh, this is funny. I'm like, that's where they're going. But I like what Mad said. We got to learn from it.
Well, Hegel said it, but yeah, I'll take credit for his work.
No.
Well, I mean, we've got, President Camacho. There you go. Yeah, that's
He's got him.
Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. All right, look. This story has been in the news. There's other news that surrounds it now because of the events of the day. I don't need to get too deep in the weeds on this one. We've all seen this one. We've probably all talked about it at this point, I would imagine, and I'm sure the chat has seen it as well. I didn't actually know who this person was, just FYI. And when somebody pointed out the things I might have seen them in, it wasn't memorable enough for me to remember. So, it's a weird thing that what this person did, because they lashed out at somebody in our fellowship, and they lashed out at Tom.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. That's the guy.
They also lashed out at Lorena, which wasn't actually covered in the article on Bounding, but they lashed out at a few people, and for a really weird thing that they actually had to go out and like hunt these people to attack down, which made no sense. And of course, he wasn't pointing to anything in the specific that Dave says in this headline. I mean, here it is. Discovery actor Wilson Cruz claims Dave Chappelle comedy special is responsible for violence. Well, the comedy special had been out for what, 2-3 days? I mean, it hadn't been that long. What violence can he cite that it caused? I mean, it'd be hard. Right. This ultimately resulted in a back and forth that can be easily witnessed there. But obviously, then came the employees at Netflix that stormed into a quarterly meeting that they are not part of. They are not invited to or whatever. And then they got suspended. Now, unlike you and me, who would do something like this,
be fired.
They got suspended. Well, this morning we find out they have now been reinstated.
What?
But they're planning a walkout, though.
Did I miss that? I thought they were suspended for a week or two.
Yeah, they immediately. Ted Sardanos says we're not going to censor art. Right, we're going to let art be art for art's sake. And
what does that have to do with those guys? They busted into a meeting. I actually thought there was a moment.
It doesn't. I guaranteed it was because Twitter. I know. I was reading the articles, and so many of the headlines were very misleading on what happened. They completely omitted the fact that they burst down the doors. They just said, "Oh, this trans activist was suspended," and they left it at that. Gave no context, and people started getting outraged on that. And I bet you anything that's why they reversed it.
Well, I mean, and again, in this article that Spencer put together, it says the Hollywood Reporter's titled "Netflix Suspends Trans Employee Who Spoke Out Against Chappelle's Special Over Attending Meeting Without Permission." Well, of course. I mean, they weren't part of the meeting. They just stormed in there. It was meant for directors and vice presidents. It's probably a financial prep meeting to get ready for a quarterly report, right? So I'm like thinking, again, if I did that, if I walked in with 2 or 3 of my fellow employees into a meeting I was really not supposed to be at, I wouldn't have a job.
Well, you mean burst in? Because remember they said they burst in. I mean, imagine your management team, your boss is having that meeting, and you burst in while they're talking. You're like, I got this problem. Yeah, and anyone else would have been fired. That's why I thought it was a positive step that they actually suspended the individual, because it doesn't matter what you are, trans, white, black, orange, purple, man, woman. You can't. There are rules. They have to be applied equally to everyone. Because when you don't apply it equally, then you start creating a caste system where this group, whether based on identity or not, can get away with these things. That's why I thought it was a good step that they took, whatever the reasons that they suspended.
Pretty sure they already have that caste system now.
Their compensatory projection of virtue is a grandeur of its lack, and it speaks about their misperceptions of what it is to be virtuous.
Yeah,
in the very sense of the word.
You're right.
Yeah, we need Voltaire right now.
Yeah,
that was way too intelligent coming from you, Matt. Bring out the fart jokes. That makes me more comfortable.
You have never heard me do a fart joke. And how dare you accuse me of such a thing?
And we don't do that.
Dick jokes.
But here's
I'll do a dick joke.
The wider point being that after these employees were suspended for that action, then everybody gets their arms up and we do this. In the Los Angeles Times from today, trans Netflix employees will stage walkout to protest controversial Chappelle special.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
two of them.
surprised. Trans community is supposed to be 0.001% of the population. It's what are there? It's 1-2 people out of entire Netflix, because it's making it sound like it's a lot.
No, but they're overrepresented, and not only in media that we see, but also behind the scenes.
Right.
So what are they going to do? Are they going to give these people like their own special to shut them up? Because unless they stop them, these people are going to keep asking for more, meaning the employees by these people.
Haven't they done that already with
Well, what they want is for it to get pulled, and this is actually a turning point, I think, for Netflix. And I'm, watching carefully what they do, because remember, there was a lot of outpouring of outrage having to do with cuties, and they said, no, we're not going to pull it. Okay, so now the other side's outraged over this. You better not pull it.
They can't
if
pull
you claim
it.
to be fair.
Yeah, no. You can't attack. You can't attack. I mean, you can attack them all you want, but comedians, we talked about this culture. Remember last week? Comedians are one of our last lines in the sand. We do not have comedians being able to make fun of whatever the hell they want. Then we have serious
equally
issues.
too. It's not like he's just trying to go after one group. He goes after everyone because he looks for what's funny and tells a joke based on that.
Right, he's a satirist. He's more like Carlin. I keep thinking it's like I started to watch it and I'm gonna finish it tonight, but he's not a comedian. I mean, he's funny as hell, but he's more like a philosophical satirist. I mean, that's
for this special.
Yeah.
Because this special I think is very different than the previous ones.
It's more of a conversation than it is an actual set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like memes. I'm sorry, I just want to answer this real quick, and you can continue, Matt. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but memes. Nobody's saying anything about labor organizing. I came out in support of IATSE's issue with AMPTP. Right, they're going to strike on Monday. I'm in favor of that because of the working conditions. That's not the circumstance here, and nobody cares that they organize. I mean, if that's your point, it's that they're in the wrong, and they can certainly organize, but it's not going to change if 6 people walk out of Netflix. It's not going to change what happens there.
This is why the special is important.
It's the right 6 people.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I guess it would be not even the people if the right media is there and they cover it with a bullhorn,
which they would cover if it's the right people.
Yeah,
right. Good point, man.
But that's why his special was important. And I think I know I had this conversation with Matt, and it's exactly what I was referring to. People needed to have someone standing there and saying this for the rest of the population to be heard, because right now they're silenced into submission and afraid to lose their jobs, where he doesn't have that danger. Like whatever happens to this special, he's going to be fine.
Yeah,
he'll get enough money, and he doesn't care.
He hasn't walked away from money before.
Yes.
That comes up in every conversation too. He's going to say what he has to say and stick to his guns.
He actually
respects about him.
He actually referred to that, Jayne, in the special.
That's how he started it.
$50 million.
Yep.
It's like the money isn't a deal. I'm fine. But I loved the way he walked in there. He said, "Do it." It's like, and then of course the day after, he's like, "If this is what being canceled's like, then cancel me all the time." It was really funny. Of course, he went on. He was performing at the Hollywood Bowl that next day. It was really hysterical. But anyway, transgender Netflix employees and coworkers will stage a walkout next week, protesting the streaming giant's decision to release Dave Chappelle's latest comedy special. Multiple Netflix staffers have confirmed to the Los Angeles Times. By the way, guys, that paragraph was one sentence. I hate new writers. Modern writers, not good. George, you want to read the rest of this, bud?
Yeah, that's great. On October 20th, members of the Netflix employee resource group Trans and their allies will take a day of rest prompted by their concerns about Chappelle's The Closer, which includes several transphobic remarks. Yeah, it also includes remarks about everyone. Anyway.
Yeah, well, it included anti-white remarks too, by the way.
I love how it says it like as a fact.
Yeah.
Not people say it was transphobic remarks. It's just as a fact, it is. You know what I mean?
framing. It's framing.
It's
Exactly.
called comedy. That's the point of satire. I encourage all members of trans and allies not to work for Netflix that day, as we've discussed through
One day.
Slack. What is Slack?
Slack is a communication platform that you can use for corporate infrastructure communications. So it's like they've offloaded their idea of their own intranet where they have interaction between employees in various ways, including file sharing and all that, which you could actually do with Google Suite and many other things. But
So it's like Office.
except that it like has chats and information stuff and everything like that. Yeah.
Cool. As we've discussed through Slack, email, text, and everything in between, our leadership has shown us that they do not uphold the values for which we are held. A Netflix employee posted Monday in a public company Slack channel, compromising more than 800 staffers representing gender minorities of all sorts and their allies. In a message
Wait,
reviewed
what?
by the Times.
800
Comprising. Yeah.
minorities.
But what does that mean? Does that mean there's two and then these are all their allies? That's because they're trying to
Well-
make it sound like the entire company is.
They're suggesting
On
that there are
board.
800 people who are non-binary.
No, well, and their allies. I think the majority of them are just me guys like,
Oh,
yeah,
and
we
they're-
support
okay.
you, Queen. Yes, Queen. Do your thing.
Between the numerous emails and non-answers that have been given, we have been told explicitly that we somehow cannot understand the nuance of certain content. I don't know about you, but asking for us to show the whole story and not just the piece that harms trans and LGBTQ plus people is not unreasonable to ask. The employee's Slack statement continued. So I encourage all us to state clearly that we as Netflix employees are stunning, not simply when we are doing that we are stunning, not
Stunning and brave. They forgot
Wow.
that part.
when we are doing because they forgot the emoji symbol. When we are doing the work that our roles demand of us, but also when we challenge the very principles of our company. Wait a minute, if you anyway, this is another Netflix employee who, like others interviewed for this story, asked not to be named for fear of reprisal. Well, they're kind of gonna see you when you boycott. Told the Times that the demonstration will follow a virtual event on October 19th, which again, they will see you when you're at the virtual event. That will be open to all staffers and discuss the Chappelle's special impact on the trans community. You know,
What was the imp? All he did, he literally just said, look, y'all have been calling me transphobic for years. I'm going to tell you why I'm not. And he just explained himself and said, I'm not going to make any more jokes about you, period, until we can laugh together. Was his literal word. So he ended it. What more do you want from him?
I don't know. I mean, I think you said it all there, Jayne. Anyway, we had a new panel member join us. It is Lady Gravemaster. Hey, Lady G.
Hi.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
And with that, we will see you guys next time.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Lady G, I'm sure you have some commentary here.
No, none whatsoever. I don't think it's absolutely insane that they were cheering for Chappelle for 1 second, and then the next second they want him canceled and segregated and shoved into a deep dark hole until he reconsiders who he is and who he's loyal to. I don't think that that's insane at all. Yeah. I'm with Jayne on this. Like, honestly, Jayne, I think they want his soul. Like, that's sort of what I've arrived at with all of this insanity. They will take nothing less than your absolute devotion. And if you're not going to give that, then they're going to punish you for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
This whole
I think that's
this
what it
whole
is.
thing is
Especially
just-
as they're coming at him now as a turf. Like, they can't completely argue with what he said in terms of content. I had a whole conversation with someone on here on Twitter where I was just posting what he actually said in response to their attempt to try to frame what he said. And so eventually the conversation moved away from what he actually said to, well, he's a turf though. Okay, but you can't police people's beliefs on that. Some people hold traditional ideas of what a woman is, and that's not going to budge. It doesn't mean they get to mistreat you, but that's not going to change. Like, you're not going to get a straight man to suddenly decide that he's comfortable dating a woman who used to be a man. I'm sorry.
There was a study that said like 97% of straight men refuse to go down on a female penis. That's a real thing. I saw it as 3% of straight men don't know they're gay.
Yeah.
That's a real study that was done.
I believe it.
Somehow I think we lost George. He must have gotten disconnected, unfortunately, but I hope everything's okay there. Probably a power outage would be my guess. Wow. So look, this is one of those weird places that we're in where I think Jayne's right. I think you're always going to butt up against anybody who has any kind of belief system that, doesn't acknowledge, the new identitarian, garbage that you're trying to instill in society.
How long is it sustainable though? Because it seems like they can consistently eat themselves and basically cause their own issues. Like, how long can they keep this going? Honestly.
Yeah. I don't know, Jayne.
Beyond the point of sanity.
Well, yeah. Jayne, I mean, you seem to be the voice of reason here.
How long can it go on?
Yeah.
That's the question. I mean, my concern has been, and this is part of what I do on my channel, is talk about these shifts that we're seeing when it comes to gender and gender representation in media, and the effect that it has long term on children, on families, on relationships. To me, it's a much more devious agenda that they're promoting and trying to basically reshape society to water down what it means to be men and women. And I don't know how long they can pull it off, but they're moving into children's entertainment. And that's a major concern. I get the nature versus nurture debate. I get what's innate in us as human beings, of what's evolved in terms of evolution, but kids can be indoctrinated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my concern, is that, our entire existence can be fundamentally changed by what they're attempting here.
I think as long as there are people that go along with it, and not even just go along with it, but just are like, yeah, but I'm going to stay over my little corner and my little section over here. As long as you don't come directly here, fine, do whatever you want. As long as there's those people that are just happy to be left alone, then it's just going to contine to.
But there is one thing I've noticed in my extended family. There's people that are significantly younger, around 12, 13 years old, and they have gone straight over to manga because they can't stand the current stuff. So it might end up failing because even the kids don't like it. Like they're going towards these other alternatives.
I'm glad that there are still kids who are doing that. I don't know. It seems like it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree with you there. I just have a little bit of hope. What is going on?
I don't know. Isn't that yours?
That's not mine.
What is it?
Somebody is street racing, and it's awesome.
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I want to get back to the end of this article because we're gonna wind down here in just a little bit. Pick it up at the top there if you can, George.
According to another Netflix staffer, the walkout is meant to pressure the streaming giant to acknowledge the harm caused by Chappelle's special. Among many derogatory remarks about the trans community, the comedian said he supported Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, who has been labeled a trans exclusionary radical feminist, TERF, for repeatedly expressing anti-trans sentiments. Unbelievable. Organizers of the protests are also demanding
Can someone please?
Yep. Oh, hi, Lady G. No, what were you going to say?
I'm on a leg.
No, you're good. Go.
Hi, George.
Hi, how you doing?
I still don't understand what a turf is.
A turf. Supposedly, it's a turf.
Hello.
It's a trans exclusionary extreme, feminist. It's
they believe in biology.
Anybody who doesn't agree with them, that's what they call them, basically.
You also have serfs.
It's their version of racist. You don't like this, you're a turf.
Essentially, lesbians that believe in biology and just want to sleep with other women.
Or
Well,
women
not
that-
necessarily.
or
No,
Well,
women-
okay,
no,
no, I'm
it's-
trying to
but
use
it's
it as break it down to the lowest
Well,
level. You know,
it started with women who go, men shouldn't be competing with our daughters or with
Yeah.
women. That's
that's
how
where it started.
That's
But-
it.
And the whole idea, I mean, it's also
So
one of the things you're coming up against too is biological women who are sick and tired of feeling like these new women or whatever, new age women, these other genders are trying to compete with our existence and our femininity and in a way replace
Mhm.
us with them. And they're doing it in media, they're doing it in entertainment now.
Right.
So it's not like they're imagining it, it's real.
Right. Think about it. Then if this were, let's say this were 10 years ago, and men were actually saying, we want kitchen to be back in the kitchen in the bedroom and no longer being able to vote, the National Organization of Women would be marching up and down in every city. But now you have these individuals, and I'm like, where are they? Where's the women organization going? We spent 100+ years trying to become equal first-class citizens, and now you want us to put us back and to put our daughters back and to put our children back? Nah. It's disgusting. So, organizers of the protests are also demanding that Netflix commit to releasing. Yep. Hello?
Lady G's on a delay.
Oh.
Oh, I just said it's unbelievable. I'm on a
It
delay.
is, it
Yeah,
is.
sorry.
Ah, okay. No,
Oh.
no problem. I didn't know. Organizers of the protest are also demanding that Netflix commit to releasing more LGBTQ plus content on the platform.
How
They're
could
not.
they possibly? They have a lot. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I've never looked at it. They have a lot.
They do.
Okay. They're not
Almost
expecting-
exclusive.
I had no clue. They are not expecting the company to remove the special, especially after next. Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry about the delay. So sorry about the delay, but I'm gonna have to back probably about 15 seconds. So
Okay.
here's the okay. God, I'm gonna get. It's a good thing that I'm so small time and nobody come after me for saying this, but here is the thing: not necessarily people like not lesbians or men who are identify as gay or like not the individuals, but the organization and promotion of their agenda works almost identically to how the mafia used to run. So the reason I say that is because the point of so anybody who even has a slight understanding of how the mafia works, they have legit businesses that called fronts to make life easier. Real money is in legitimate businesses, and then they're able to money like do all of the illegal activity behind the fronts that they have. What is happening is with these activists, the money is in mainstream because I would say probably since the 70s, because the 60s were like free love, free this, free that. And especially in the 80s when you had like the huge, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and like AIDS skyrocketed and all of these things. That you've had LGBT, like back then it was just LG, but you've had this type of entertainment. You've had these type of clubs. You've had all of these things. They've been there. They just weren't mainstream. And so what you're seeing is this shift. They're trying to put this all mainstream because that's where the money is. That's where they're going to be able to actually like flip a profit. So here's Chappelle's special probably made more money than 100 of those other shows combined. But because these other shows, if they can switch these into mainstream and churn these out and make these entertain, if the new staple of mainstream entertainment, because they're dinosaurs and they think that like the technology is so far ahead of what their strategy is, but you're watching them attempt to sort of like absorb all of this and take over, because if they are mainstream, then there's more money to be made for them. There's money to be made for activism and their agenda and their push. And so now that they're legit, because that's what like you go legit for the money. So now that they're legit, you just have to look at who's making all of the money is basically what it is. So you're in, and the thing is, they reached their goal. Like the whole thing was to tolerance, and they long since hit that.
It's funny that you mentioned the mafia, because fun fact, the Stonewall riots, do you know why that club was being raided? Was because it was a mafia front. They were not there to try to bust all the gays. They were there to bust this mafia front.
I think Lady D was spot on.
Yeah, but they have turned that incident into this whole, they were there trying to suppress us, but we fought back. No. They were there for the mafia. Y'all just happened to be in the way. That's all it was. But
absolutely. So we go to news of the walkout comes shortly after Netflix suspended 3 employees, allegedly for attending a quarterly business review or QBR meeting that they were not invited to, during which directors and vice presidents at the company discussed the fallout from the Chappelle special. One of those staffers, senior software engineer Tara Field, has since been reinstated following a probe into her activities. So I guess busting into the office doesn't count. Netflix has reinstated me after finding there was no ill intent in my attending the QBR meeting, Field tweeted Tuesday. I'm going to take a few days off to decompress. So let me get this straight. They bust into the meeting, they get suspended, and now they get vacation days. Okay. And to try to figure out where I'm at the very least, I feel vindicated. Jesus. Field also shared a screenshot of an email documenting the results of the investigation. Wow, that was a quick investigation, which found that Field genuinely didn't think there was anything wrong with seeking access to this meeting. Could you imagine any of our bosses, my old bosses, since I'm running my own business, but could you imagine if any of your bosses, you burst into their meeting and said, hey, I have something to tell you, started yelling, and then say that you belong there? How long do you think it would be before anyone would be fired?
And then most likely,
I would have gotten fired the second I bust through the doors.
Yeah.
Most likely they knew that these people did not want to hear from them on this point, or they had been ignored before. But there's a process for that in any corporation, right?
Right.
You have HR, you have, go up the chain of command and all that. Bursting into the meeting is not the best approach.
Well,
and then they have the audacity to compare it to the civil rights movement. That was what ticked me off about Wilson's comment.
Field also shared a screenshot of an email documenting the results of the investigation, which found that Field genuinely didn't think there was anything wrong with seeking access to this meeting, and that a director at Netflix shared a link to the virtual gathering with Field, which further supported that this was a culture. This was a meeting.
Did I scroll too far?
Yep.
Sorry. Dang it. All right. Still too far.
Yep. This was a meeting Field could attend. Just a little down.
All right.
It's okay. Before her suspension, Field publicly condemned at least 38 transgender or gender nonconforming people have been killed. So, see, what does that have to do with a comedy? Every time anything happens in the trans community, the first red flag, red herring they throw out is, do you know how many trans have died? Well, no. You know how many people have died this year? I mean,
yeah, and
die.
Yeah, 38 people.
Or
so
two.
and here's the problem. Under circumstances, this is where I start to ask for details. 38 people, 38 transgender people or gender nonconforming people has been killed so far in 2021. How? Why? Under what circumstances? I mean, there's a lot of ways people are killed. You're clearly not using the word murdered for a reason. So let's break this down. See, this is why, again, it all comes into framing. This is why, again, all of the news agencies that we know this widely are corrupted, because they frame all these arguments. And look, to be perfectly honest with you, this happens across the board, right? Across the board. And I'm tired of it. I mean,
Well,
we can
how many had a vending machine falling on? I mean, that happens
Well,
700 times a
here's-
year.
Here's the thing: if they're,
Lightning.
oftentimes what they're doing is talking about it in a domestic violence context.
Right.
They're just applying it to this person, expose themselves to this person as trans, and then they attack them,
Right.
whatever. Those are the stories they like to tell. But if you compare those numbers to the number of women who've been killed due to
Right.
domestic violence just this year,
Oh, that's
it exceeds it by mile. I mean, of course it will because of the numbers, but it's not something that if you say you're a woman, then why aren't you bringing up those questions, those
Right.
issues? Those
Well,
deaths?
if you break it down to percentages, it's actually underrepresented. So they're less likely than the broader population of if you just take women or men. That's something they don't look into either. Like if you break it down just percentage wise.
Right.
It's just insane
One
that-
of my favorite
Oh, she cut out.
it's one of my favorite red herrings. Yeah, I did cut out. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Keep going.
But yeah, one of my favorite red herrings. Yeah, one of my red herrings is when they say that it's so hard to find someone who will love them for who they are. Like, it was a TikTok. Libs of TikTok shared it, and it was someone who was calling them like they use the horse self.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they were
I know
like,
what
it's
you-
so hard to find someone who loves me, who loves me for my horse self that I am. And you could tell that they were having they had to keep looking at notes to remind themselves of what to call themselves. And so they were like, it's so hard in the trans community to even find someone who understands me. And so, like the cis white males just don't understand how difficult it is to find someone who appreciates me and loves me for who I am, and I don't have to be scared of them, and they're everything that I'm looking for. And I was like, that's the whole planet's struggle, quite frankly. Like, it's hard to find a partner. That's the whole point. Like,
Yeah.
Well, now it's demand. It's not just not just the struggle itself. They're like, oh no, you have to date me, and the preference is bigoted. That's not how it works.
Yeah, and unfortunately we're gonna have to start to wind out of this because we're running out of time. But I don't know. Any final thoughts from anyone on this before we call it a day? Because I have to tell you, this Chappelle thing I think it did.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it did exactly what it needed to do. And I think Jayne's right. I mean, this is kind of serving as a tipping point. I think George said the same. I think
I'm
even
thrilled that
Cardi
lady
B too.
is-
Like just her talking out. That's kind of a big deal for the broader population and fight against cancel culture. Like, say what you will or think about with her.
Hi, George.
But it was kind of a big deal that she said something.
yeah. All right.
That's my Cardi B.
Okay then. Well, and George is back.
No,
George,
in the studio knocked me out.
oh well, I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad you're back. And any final thoughts that you have before we wrap it up?
No, I really think I've talked about it before, but I really think the point is whoever you are, whatever life you lead, go live your life. Stop worrying about what anybody else is thinking. I don't care if you're straight, trans, whatever. I mean, it's like if someone doesn't like you, that's the world. No one will like him. That's it. Grow up.
Yeah, Jayne,
Grow up
you're
and live your
wise.
life.
Yeah, exactly.
My final thoughts are, look, the world doesn't owe you anything.
There you go.
Not their love, not their appreciation, none of that. So get over it. That's my final thought, is just stop whining about everything.
And let's see. Yeti said his. Lady G got hers. Mad,
What?
you're the co-host tonight. Tell us tell us your final thought, my man.
One, if life was easy, then it wouldn't be worth doing. Like that's kind of the whole point. It takes struggle and obstacles to make it even worth trying. But if you take it too serious, you'll never make it out alive. Van Wilder.
That's very
And
true.
stop making other people responsible for your own identity and self-confidence.
Perfect.
Like, that's not on other people to support. Like, you have to do that yourself, like everyone else.
Yeah, self-esteem is the first word is self. But let's do that. Let's do this. I think that you should be accountable for yourself, and if you're engaged in a relationship with someone else, that your designated partner, and those are the people you should concern yourself with. If you have children, you concern yourself with them. But beyond that, if you stay out of everybody else's business, your life will be far happier. And with that being said, that's my final thing. Anybody here have stuff to promote? Lady G?
I'm going to be doing a stream tomorrow on Hocus Pocus.
Oh, wow.
So,
awesome.
Just nostalgia streams for some escapism, because the world has lost its mind. And there's, with the exception of very few things, nothing really worth watching present day. Just go back to the past where it used to be good and fun. But I stream every Thursday now, and I'm working on I'm going to be mostly off of social media for probably the next week or two. I've got horses and animals and YouTube stuff, like all this work that I'm trying to get done. So I won't be on social media a whole lot, but I'll still be there.
Good.
But yeah, Twitter and Insta is where you can usually find me, and I will be streaming every Thursday. So
awesome. That's great news. Thanks, Lady G. Appreciate you. From one lady to another, Lady Jayne here.
Hey, yeah, you can find me here on YouTube, where I post movie and television reviews and occasionally some pop culture commentary. You can also catch me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at Jayne Theory.
Oh, thank you so much. She has such an elegant elevator speech. It's fantastic. We have the furry one himself, Yeti Cast. Yeti Cast did a trailer. Yeti, tell them to go see it.
Yeah. So if anyone, I just put the link to that video in the private chat. If anybody could share that. I just released it today. I'm extremely proud of this one, and I also want to publicly thank Culture Casino for helping me learn how to edit significantly better, and Mad for giving me his thoughts on what was working. There you go, Mad. You happy?
And now I will post it.
I worked really hard on this, and it's what if Michael Myers was a piece of candy corn. So, so I redid the entire, not just a trailer, but I made a new trailer for the original Halloween movie and replaced Michael Myers with candy corn. I think you're all going to like this.
It's amazing. And of course, the Giant Slayer himself, our many channels benefactors and a huge supporter of everyone, George.
It's great to be here once again. Thank you, Culture, for everything. And Lady G, Jayne Theory, Yeti, Mads, it was great seeing you. And thank you, Scott, for having me on the Sporking News podcast. You can go check out George the Giant Slayer. I'm going to be covering political and I'm going to be providing political analysis. Sorry. The power keeps flickering. It keeps dragging my attention away because we have a storm. My first video is dropping on Monday, and I have a promo already up there. So I'm going to be covering some pop cultural events, political analysis, and some movie reviews coming up in the next 2 weeks. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you, George. It was awesome. And of course, tonight's co-host, my partner in crime many days, Mad, the Magnificent, Mad.
Mad the Magnificent will work. Mad the Magnetic.
Putting the D in magic. You put your D places. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Put it right in the magic. Mad Burkadabra. Look, and that's, like I said in the chat, I say this all the time, but you got to watch Benny Loves You. I don't know how many times I got to tell you people to watch it. It is so good. So good. It's an independent movie. It's out of England. Don't let that bother you. It's still good. But and I'm watching Art of Self-Defense again, which is great. And it's on Hulu for free. You can check it out there. Also, the Mads Mikkelsen movie, what's it called? Riders of Justice is also on Hulu. It's another great movie that came out. It's in subtitles though, so make sure you can read. And there's still great content out there. Of course, you have Craig Zoller and all of his great movies, Bone Tomahawk, Dragged Across Concrete, and Brawl in Cell Block 99. Guys, you got to look a little harder, but there is good content being made.
Like on YetiCast.
Absolutely.
Do not put words in my mouth. This is my turn.
No, I heard Mad say that.
Yes.
I didn't say that.
And finally, I just wanted to say thank you, Scott, for the privilege of hosting your show. It's fun to do this for you. I know that you are on the cusp of returning to work and maybe to a regular schedule, but it's always a lot of fun. I had an incredible panel to speak with tonight, and I feel blessed because you guys you respect Scott enough to come on here even when he's not here. So thank you all very much. I'm going to end this show like I end mine because it's important to me to say, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
So, should I get the 2K subs first or Stephen Walton?
You.
Yeah. Do you even know who he is?
No.
I'm here with Tubbs, and we're trying to find out who should. Well, wait a minute. Who should hit 2K first? Myself, Sporking this podcast, or Stephen Walton?
Who the fuck is Stephen Walton?
No one knows.
Subscribe to this guy.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm here with Ryan Cannell.
What the fuck? Say my name right, motherfucker. Ryan Kinnell.
Ryan Cannell. First person to 2K, myself or Stephen Walton?
Well, that's a tough question. It's two very undesirable answers,
right.
But I am on Sporking's channel, so I guess I have to say Sporking News Podcast.
Do you even know who Stephen Walton is?
I do, because he made a video about how you were using me for clout the other day. So I actually watched that.
Oh, you did watch that boring ass video. I'm here with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, and I have a question for you, sir.
Yeah, man. What's up?
Who should hit 2K subs first, myself or author Stephen Walton?
Who the hell's Stephen Walton?
The author.
I mean, by default, you, just because I don't even know who the other person is. And you're a great YouTuber. You're an amazing YouTuber. You've inspired me.
I didn't want to tell everybody that.
You inspired me to do better because your stuff is so bad. But
yeah,
but in all seriousness, who is Stephen Walton?
Someone told me he loved Pray Trees or something like that he wrote, or Wrinkle in a Tree. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not. I can tell you one thing: Geeks and Gamers is not affiliated. But we do love Sporking News. Subscribe to Sporking News. Get him to 2,000 subs. Love this dude.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, you don't have me in the right thing. I'm supposed to be up here. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in the top one.
Thanks so much. Good night, everybody.
Echo.